Thank you, Claire, and good morning. Time is running out for us to tackle the threat of climate change. And delayed action will lead to greater risks and costlier solutions. Recent climate observations have indicated that dangerous climate change may in fact be closer than we had thought. The ice sheets in Greenland and Antarctica are losing mass at an increasing rate. Glaciers and ice caps in other parts of the world are also melting rapidly, and as a result, sea level rise is faster than had previously been observed. In addition, in our own Arctic, the sea ice has declined at an unprecedented rate, even faster than any of the models are predicting. Carbon dioxide emissions, which is really the root cause of the threat of climate change, have accelerated threefold over the past 2 decades. They are now as high as the level predicted by the most extreme scenario envisaged by the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change in their report less than a decade ago. And at this rate, carbon dioxide concentrations could be more than 3 times pre-industrial levels, and global temperatures around 4 degrees higher by the end of this century. As a result of these emissions, the concentrations of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere today is more than 100 parts per million greater than it was in pre-industrial times. Indeed, it's not been as high as this for at least the last 800,000 years. Moreover, and more worryingly, the rate of increase is significantly greater than we have ever observed before. In consequence of all this, the warming trend over the last 50 years is nearly twice that of the last 100 years. In other words, the closer one comes to the present, so the rate of increase of global temperature increases. In the words of the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change 4th Assessment Report, we can now say with confidence that warming of the climate system is now unequivocal. Global temperatures are outside the range observed over the last 1,300 years. In fact, the last time the polar regions were significantly warmer than present for any extended period, the reductions of the polar ice volume led to a 4 to 6 meter rise in sea level. Finally, the carbon dioxide that we have been dumping into the atmosphere since the beginning of the Industrial Revolution is going to stay there for centuries or longer, during which time it will continue to add to the warming of the climate system. We are inevitably going to experience changes because of what we have already done to the climate. We are thus committed to as much warming over the next few decades as we saw over the whole of the last century. Therefore, some impacts are now inevitable. That part of history has already been written. And adaptation is no longer a policy option, but a policy imperative. If we wish to have a better than even chance of avoiding dangerous climate change, which several scientists and governments have interpreted as staying below a 2-degree increase of global temperatures, then emissions will have to peak within the next decade and be at least 50% below 1990 levels by mid-century. Of course, that's a global estimate, and industrialized countries such as Canada will be expected to make greater cuts. Very simply, time is running out. What we do in the next decade or so will be critical to tackling the long-term threat of climate change. Delaying decisions will seriously constrain opportunities to achieve future low stabilization levels, and it raises the risk of progressively more severe impacts. It's been estimated that each 10-year delay in mitigation implies an additional 0.2 to 0.3 degrees Celsius increase in warming. As the IPCC has stated, the evidence of climate change is now unequivocal. The scientific community has issued a warning that now may be understated. Addressing climate change will be a long-term challenge, but one, in my view, we must start addressing now. There is no further excuse for inaction. The climate has a memory, and it will not let us forget. Thank you.